But of course, closely anchored in doing this is the anchor borrower scheme, because one of the complaints of the farmers is that, look, we need to have access to finance at reasonable interest rates. Yeah. So government is committed to doing this. Currently, we have the anchor borrower scheme in some states. Our plan is to extend it further, because once you have food security, obviously, this, it means most of your problems are solved.
Mr. Lawa, pardon me.
Are saying is that
let me jump in there for a bit, if you will. But when you speak about the agri sector, I know, yes, you say that's part of the objectives of the ERGP and you want to sustain that. But at the micro level, we have people who have written us and said, look, what the government says about the agri sector is not exactly the case out there. There are people who talk about the fact that if they want to get into agriculture, for instance, getting access to land, for instance, is huge. And so if at that initial stage, they find almost a door which they can't seem to go through, how would you then say that the ERGP is achieving its aim?
Yeah, we recognize that, Chamberlain, and that's why government is working closely with the state government towards ensuring that land are made easily available to would-be investors in that area. Land is actually very critical. In the past, it has been a major challenge, and that issue has been, currently being addressed, by government working closely with the state governments. This, by the federal government working closely with the state governments. This, we believe, will assist in making would-be investors in agriculture to come on board.
I'm sorry, when you talk about these projections of growth to 2018 and what you want to achieve with rice by 2020, and looking at the whole structure, what are you doing in terms of having this structure become more speculative, just so that it trickles and people at the grassroots are feeling it?
Yeah, like I said, the issue of farming and agriculture is basically the subnational. The role of the federal government is to ensure that relevant policies are put in place to ensure that this works, and I mentioned the issue of making access. People have access to credit. I think government is working on that. The issue of land, government is also intervening to ensure that this works. And unlike in the past, when at the federal level, policies are made, but this time around, government at the national level has set up task forces to monitor and to ensure that some of these decisions which are taken actually gets implemented. And reports are given on a periodic basis, on a regular basis, so that if there are issues, these issues will be flagged and corrective measures will be taken. That is currently working, and we believe that going forward, it will help in ensuring that the food security is maintained. Like I said earlier, the focus of this administration is to concentrate on on diversifying the productive base of the economy. Many people will say, oh, we've been hearing that in the last 15, 20 years. Yes, but what has changed this time around is that structures are being put in place. I just mentioned the task forces, being put in place. Even at the national level, implementation units has been set up at the Ministry of Budget and National Planning to ensure that these key priority projects, key priority areas, and agriculture and food security is certainly one of them.
Yeah, Mr. Lawa, pardon me again, I need to butt in, but we'll let you respond to continue your train of thought about the food sector when we return from this break. Join us again.